Planning Commission discussed this. In the end, they recommended a project deadline extension of 6 months, which would take it from August 8, 2020 to February 8, 2021, with an option for an additional 6-month extension period if deemed necessary by the applicant by way of a request, and then approval by the Board of Supervisors. The idea being keep a bit of a short leash on the applicant. We also requested as a condition of this request that they provide us with an idea of how much time it would take for them to complete the improvements. Under the MPC, it actually calls for substantial completion of the improvements. And they have responded with a schedule where they say it should take 9 months, but we also need to account for weather delays since we're going over winter months. So, if the board is of the mind, this would be, and you want to follow the recommendation of the Planning Commission, this would be a motion to extend the MPC 5-year deadline for the Melbourne Hills project from August 8, 2020 to February 8, 2021 to substantially complete the improvements, with the idea of they can always come back and ask for another 6 months.
If I can just speak to that for a second, and we certainly appreciate the board's consideration of the extension.
Sorry, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, Carl Wiener, representing the applicants. One of the reasons that we talked about 9 months is that it would take us to the spring of 2021. The reality is during winter time, roads can't be top coated, other things can't be done during the winter period. To take us to February 8th, again, we do appreciate the consideration of the extension, but we thought as a practical matter, it may make more sense to go further into the spring, because by, after December, we see what the weather is like. It's now December 3rd. It becomes more problematic in terms of completing the improvements. So that's why we talk about weather-related delays. And if the board can keep that in consideration, I appreciate what Mr. Belmar has said in terms of the township's interest in keeping a short leash. But we also were hoping you consider the practical perspective, and which is why we propose another months.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I think we would like to see some progress. And to date, we have not seen any progress. Speaking for myself, I would like to see what you can accomplish in the next, 6 months after August, which is really a year, in the next 14 months. And I would prefer to then have you come back if you are delayed by weather and things you can't control and ask for the additional time to demonstrate that you are in fact serious about making progress.
If it was 9 months, just correct me, is that May of 2021?
Correct, yes.
Carol, didn't you say it would take more than about 6 months or more to do what you have to do?
And they're going to have to go finish the approval process, and even though they've got a conditional preliminary approval from the township, they're going to have to go back to DEP for permits. They're going to have to deal with sewage facilities planning, which we talked about at great length at the Planning Commission meetings. So they've got a lot to do before they get to the point where they can talk about starting construction. So I'm envisioning that over the course of the first half of 2020, they're going to be dealing with those hurdles. So you're not looking at an approved plan until late summer or early fall of 2020 if everything goes smoothly. So then construction starts, and I don't disagree with Mr. Wiener's point that as construction progresses, the last things you're going to do are paving and topping before the houses are actually built, and it's going to be winter time and you can't pave in January, February. So I think that's a valid perspective. I think everybody's bringing valid perspectives to the table, but that's the information that I can.
Sure.
Sheriff Schwenker, Mr. Belmar, could you please clarify, you said 9 months. Does that include the same time that Carol's reporting, or is that in addition to?
The 9 months is the request of the developer. So it would
Give
run,
us a timeline. Okay.
so August 8, 2020 is the current expiration of the 5-year period.
I understand.
So they're asking for 9 months from that date.
Have they provided the timeline, the preliminary timeline? Does the preliminary timeline include the same time that Carol is speaking to? Or is that in addition to?
Yes, it does. They talk about the schedule for improvements will be impacted by the weather during the winter of 2020 into 2021. So they're envisioning the same thing that Carol is. Does that answer your question?
Yes. So it's already included?
Yes, yes.
The initial request was for 1 year, is that correct?
Yes, you had raised that with the planning commission, and there was some reluctance to go that far out. So this is a little bit shorter leash than that. Again, we're trying to kind of come to a reasonable point in between, considering the weather, considering the township's interest in bringing us in, yes.
I hate to use that language, reining people, but I think we should be able to work with each other. I mean, that's really what this comes down to. And I think we are trying to work together in making sure, and I was there for the planning commission meeting, and the planning commission brought up great questions, and there were some responses back to those questions. So just taking a look at the initial 1-year request and the planning commission's suggestion, the vote that they took at a 6-year with a 6-year potential, I'm sorry, 6 month with a potential 6-month extension. I would move that we do permit the 9-month extension. Is that the word I'm looking at?
Correct.
The 9-month extension.
So the new 5-year period expiration would be May 8, 2021, under that motion.
We have a second.
I'd like, oh, Chuck, you're here from Planning Commission. I'd like to hear from the Planning Commission, because you recommended a 6-month, I don't mean you, I mean the Planning Commission recommended a 6-month extension. Do we have any comments from the Planning Commission? Do they have any objection to a 9-month extension?
Well, I can't speak. Chuck Geiser, North Bryan, I can't speak for the planning commission, I can speak for myself. Actually, the 6-month idea, I believe our solicitor had recommended that to us as a way that we can move forward and hopefully whatever negotiations, and there still are negotiations that have to happen over those next 6 months, if they go in a positive direction, then yes, an extension would make sense. If whatever negotiations don't go in a positive direction, then we have some control over that situation. So I thought that as a personally thought that as a reasonable way to move forward, so that we're all working together. And I understand what Chuck Light was saying, but I'm in business for 20 years myself. I know about having a little bit of leverage, and I think it wouldn't be a bad idea for the township to pursue the 6-month option. It made sense to me. I can't speak for the other members, but it appeared to make sense for them, and many of them want to speak, that's all.
Yes, Phil.
Yeah, I mean, would concur with what Chuck had said here. I think that we grappled with this extension issue very heavily, and I think that it was a reasonable outcome to permit the 6-month extension. And of course, we've added the concept that you can have a opportunity to have that readdressed if these conditions that you're suggesting might take place do. So I don't see that adding another 3 months to that extension period is really a worthy consideration of this board. Bill's going to about Earl off the road. So.
I just have a question for you two. Is there a reason why a 6-month extension would not work? And then when you need more time and you demonstrated you have any progress, you're asking for another 6 months? Would that be an acceptable alternative?
I think following up on what Carol has said, and I think we presented that in an email outside agencies such as PennDOT, MDEP, and that process. The reality is that takes time. And so before we can put a shovel in the ground, we need to go through that whole process and work with you and get to a plan that makes sense. We've already had substantial discussion in terms of direction on the sewer. We have an understanding where we're going with sewer treatment. There will inevitably be other discussions in terms of how the roads are laid out or whatever things may come up during the course of the land development process. So that takes some time. In the meantime, that clock is ticking. So we really can't put a shovel in and start the work until that process is done, which is why we are going to run into, as we envision it, we're going to run into the plan approval and then run right into the fall and have a very short time to commence the improvements. So that's why getting us over to the spring seemed to make sense for all parties.
Right, but you haven't really answered my question, which is there a reason why a 6-month extension is not acceptable to give us, the board, an opportunity to see how much progress you're making in that time period and then come back to ask for an additional 6 months? I mean, I understand what you're saying about what needs to be done.
Right, and again, any extension is appreciated, let me make that clear. However, what I thought I was answering the question was that because it's going to give a short window of time between plan approval and actually starting improvements and getting them in, it's not going to be sufficient for us to get enough of a head start of getting mobilized and getting those improvements in to get farther into the job and to have that evaluation is really where I'm headed with this.
So you're saying between now and February, which is 14 months from now, you don't anticipate being able to accomplish anything?
We can't do, the problem is once you have the approvals, now you need to engage the contractors and you need to have, to create a timetable and have site work done, which involves grading and roads and all that. So you can't, it would be nice if we could start that process now, but you really can't because you really don't know who the contractors are going to be 9 months from now necessarily when this work, when the plan is approved. There are a lot of things you can't do until you're ready to start.
Right.
Or at least you're further along in the planning process.
Right, but I don't think we have an expectation you will have completed all the improvements by February of 2020. Again, I guess I'm not making myself very clear. Would it be acceptable to move forward tomorrow and then come back to us in a year and let us know how much more time we do need? And when you do that, to tell us how much you've accomplished, and then we can compare it to what you're expecting will be done.
If that is a decision of the board, we can certainly work with that. I guess we're just anticipating the process to take somewhat longer, but certainly if that's the decision of the board, we'll make that work.
We have a motion on the board. Looking for a second, I'll second.
I'll just make another couple comments. Just a couple of things. Part of the reason I'm suggesting 3 months additional is because I do agree with what's been said. Timelines do take time, and weather is unpredictable. And we're not talking about multi-years, but 3 additional months. Again, that's why I would support the 9-month extension.
And I hope that everybody can work together on it. I really do, instead of just fighting. This is what's costing our sewer to go up, whether you know it or not. Holding all this up is costing the sewer rates to go higher and higher. And you know what? Most of you people aren't even in the sewer. So you just don't care. You better open your eyes and see what you're doing. I'm not saying build the whole township up. I'm not saying let me build 80 homes. But get this stuff going so that, if you're going to do the 47, okay, do the 47. Yes. Yes.
In your commercial district? Is your home in the sewer district?
Yes, there's several.
Is your home?
My home is not. But I'm not fighting.
I'm not fighting it either.
Dan Orr, Craft Road, to Chuck's recommendation, we moved to 9 months. Am I correct in the assumption if we're not going with the 6 months, there would just be 9 months and that's it, and then no immediate ability to redress and seek an additional 6 months after 9 months?
I think fairly stated, if the board votes for the 9 months, it would move the new deadline to May 8th, 2021. However, we have to reasonably expect if there are delays as the township proceeds through the approval process. If there's delays by outside agencies, that the gentleman may well come back and ask for another 6 months.
That would come before the Board of Supervisors at the time, is that correct?
Correct.
Right.
Brian Hill, 11 Ziegler Road. I think what they're asking for is, you're saying reasonable. I think he needs to understand what reasonable means. What do you expect out of that timeline to say with cause, with regards to weather, he needs some direction. So at that point, when they do need to come back, they come back and say, well, yeah, we accomplished X, Y, and Z. But you wanted X, Y, Z, A, B, and C type things. I think that's what he's asking for, and so you need to define what you mean by reasonable, because what you think may be reasonable may not be reasonable to me or someone else in the room. So if you can define that for them, I think that would be helpful, and that would give him some direction so that as they come back for that extension, and either way to me, it's fine, but I think they need a little more decisive language with what is reasonable to you.
Back to that whole thing, and I appreciate the gentleman who said, it is in our interest as developers, once we get the approval, and we get, and again, getting to the practical nuts and bolts of this, and we get the construction loan to move forward, the clock is ticking on that loan. Every day, interest accrues on that loan until the development is done and the house is sold and the loan is paid back. It is always in the developer's interest, once the approvals are done and that loan is taken, to get those improvements in as expeditiously as possible. Because they're paying for every day that the development is not finished. And so that's the reality on our side, and that will hopefully provide some assurance on your side. And there will certainly be a land development agreement which will also say deadline was in the improvements to be done.
So if we were to approve a 9-month extension, what can we expect from you in terms of updates on your progress?
We'll be happy to give you updates as you ask for. I mean, we do it, monthly or
Good evening, Ben Goldthorpe here with Carl tonight. Just to give a little bit more background, so obviously we've been working with the township for almost 2 years now, going back and forth on some different solutions. But very recently, at the last planning commission meeting and post-election, we got very clear direction, I think, from the town of what we're looking for, which is sticking with the plan that was previously approved that has 47 homes on. So hearing that information, we've engaged a civil engineer, Woodrow and Associates, to prepare that final plan. And so we've already started that process, hearing the information that we heard at the planning commission meeting. So as far as how do we move forward, I would envision by mid-January, we're submitting a final plan to the township. And then I would assume that within 30 days or 45 days, we're getting a review letter from the township engineer, and we're either back in front of the planning commission or making those revisions. At the same time, we're going to apply for our planning module, apply for our MPDS permit, apply to PennDOT for our highway access permit. So I guess I view the spring as a very active time where we're going to be submitting plans and submitting all this information to you. So if the question is, are we going to get an extension and then just sit on our hands, that's not going to be the case.
All right, and one thing that's still pending out there, which our solicitor I think is focused on, is what of those original commitments you made in 2005 or 2007 or 2008, whenever it was, a long time ago, are you still committed to in terms of following through on those? So I think we're still looking at those.
Right, and I think that those discussions and focusing on that will take place in conjunction with the review by the engineer.
And I know one of them, and Bill McGovern is looking right at me, is the $1,000 per home for emergency services, correct?
Yes, so what I envision as part of our final plan submission is us responding to that, the preliminary approval resolution. So in the preliminary approval resolution, it outlays certain things, it attaches the township engineer's review letter. And so we'll supply a letter with that submission packet that outlines exactly what we're complying with and what we're providing, and what things can no longer be complied with because it's impossible for whatever reason. So we'll provide that as part
And
of
some of those things you can no longer comply with, but you were originally committed to, we may ask you to substitute those for something else. Thank you.
Bob?
Bob Burns, Supervisor. I think Ben might answer part of my question. But I thought I understood it at the planning commission is that they were going to commit with a timeline, a written down timeline. Now, he just spouted off about his civil engineer, when he's going to come, and what he's going to do, and when he's going to be dependent on and everything else. But has that formally been submitted to the board in a scheduled timeline? Because I thought that's what I heard at the planning commission, that when they came back tonight, that they would be handing in a schedule.
And short answer, no. Longer answer is what they submitted was focused on the improvements. And that's really, to my mind, what we're focused on for the planning commission, as opposed to the nuts and bolts of preparing a plan, submitting it, and things like that. So it's good to hear tonight, though, that how we're going to move forward in that respect.
Well, I think that would have been helpful to make a decision for 6 months, 9 months, or whatever, as far as the extension goes. If you're showing somebody that you've got a timeline, you've already talked to your engineer, he's going to have it, you're going to file it in January, and he's going to follow up, and hopefully, get all his DEP, PennDOT, and other requirements done, by March or whatever. I mean, that's something to look at. That's showing that he's taken effort the last week to reach out, come up with a timeline, and do what needs to be done. I still think that the planning commission gave a 6-month extension, and I think that's what should be done, followed up by another 6-month extension.
Sherry?
Sherry Spiker, 20 Road. Just I'd like to point out that they're encouraging the development to move, the general consensus is a 6-month extension. They're encouraging to move on more rapidly. I think your comment earlier was, why are you delaying it? So I think that maybe there's a mix-up there. They're trying to encourage things to move on more quickly. They're not trying to.
Yeah, but I follow you 100%, but like I said, and I mentioned to Carol earlier, it's going to take 6 months or better for him to get through DEP and the rest of that. Am I correct, Carol? Around that. And this is what was said in the planning commission meeting. Carol explained it all. It could take longer. So if you take 6 months from now, where are you at? And if he has to start, it'll be winter time, like they're trying to say. You can't do nothing in the winter. Very little.
The encouragement is there with the 6 months to move forward with the
I
option.
think the encouragement is still there with everything. I mean, you got to be able to work